Recording in progress.
Hello and welcome, welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. We should have spoken about that
Yeah,
before.
but who was doing the welcome? The welcome to podcast.
Yes, welcome back. I'm your
A
host.
little bit late.
Yes,
But better late than never, so they say.
that's right. For most things,
Yes.
I am your host, Ron Tate, and with me is my darling wife, Isabel Tate.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's me.
Yeah,
The darling wife.
the darling wife.
The wife.
The
ball and chain.
The wifey?
No.
No.
The wifey? No.
You'd rather call yourself the ball and chain.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
The handbrake. The ball and chain. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, here we are again for another podcast.
Yes.
It's
a bit late because last week, just every week is so busy. You know, we had the Running Gate workshop on Tuesday night. I went out Thursday night when we normally do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Wednesdays I don't get home from yoga till 5:45, and it's just starting to get too late by then.
Yeah.
You know, it's just hard. Like we work full-time jobs, and yeah, it's just hard.
And we work a lot, and
we run a lot, and we train a lot, and it's trying to squeeze in the old podcast.
That's right. We tend to sit down for about 2 hours at the end of the day, and
we're lucky if it's 2 hours.
And and that's it. And by then we're exhausted.
Yeah. So the podcast does not always happen. We're not these podcasters who put it out every Thursday at 5 p.m. without fail. Sadly, we are not. We just don't have the capacity.
No, we don't.
I was watching this thing on Instagram. Some guy going, he's not saying, he's sick of saying yes to everything. So from now on, he's going to say, I just don't have the capacity for that, rather than no.
Okay.
And giving an explanation of why I can't do it. I don't have the capacity. No, I'm not going to do it. He's going to say no, but I don't have the capacity. When people say, but why? Just don't have the capacity. And we just sometimes don't have the capacity for it.
Yeah.
And because, we have to use our brains, and that's pretty hard at 6 o'clock at night.
It is.
To be fair, it's a bit hard today too.
So we'll
get into that.
Where does today find us?
Up at my
You can see that it's not our usual background.
No,
if you're watching it on YouTube,
it's a bed that's very uncomfortable to sit upright
in,
because it's got all of these wooden slats and shit that dig into my back. I mean, I've got my pillow there, but and the laptop is on the bed. So if you're watching on YouTube and
you're not drunk.
You're not drunk. That's us. We're having a wine.
Yes, we are having
We've only had one sip, so
just crack the first bottle.
The first bottle. We've only got one bottle.
First of one.
Yes.
Yeah, we're sitting here looking out the window. It's very dreary and cold.
Yeah, but we should be out running. But once again,
summer,
we'll get to that.
But it's very dreary. It's winter conditions without the
snow. I mean, I don't know if I've told people this. I've told you this, but I grew up spending many summers up at Bulla because my family was into bushwalking, and it snowed. We'd be here and it'd be snowing at Christmas. So, this is not unheard of. This is not unusual. This is. I mean, I've been here in summer in far worse conditions as a child.
Yeah.
Didn't stop us going for those beautiful 8-hour hikes, 9-hour, 10-hour, depending how lost we got, with our emergency beacons and mobile phones. And that's right, it was the 70s. Yeah. We didn't have any of that shit. We'd just go out and walk, and if we got into trouble.
Paper map.
Yeah, paper map. Lots of arguing on my parents' behalf when we got lost. That was so much fun, hearing them yell at each other. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
And then we'd get a bit hungry, so Mummy would pull out the stick of salami that was in her backpack for the last 5 hours if it was a 30-degree day. Wasn't sweating much, that salami, let alone me. And that was our food for the fucking hike. So, yeah, that was awesome.
So European.
So European. That's why when I go to the European races and they've got salami there, I still don't eat it, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yes, so they were fun times, fun childhood times.
Yeah, so we're up at Mount Bulla for the weekend to support the.
Well, we were meant to be.
Yeah, Oscar's Hut to Hut racing.
We were meant to be doing the King's Hut to finish line sweeping on Friday and Saturday night, and I planned to run down to that, and you were going to join me on at least one of those days for about 44 k's each day. Kind of as things stand, it probably works out good that it didn't end up happening.
Yeah, that's right. It might not have happened on the second night anyway.
The running down.
Let
alone the hiking up.
So instead, due to the cold weather, they changed the course at the last minute to a 2-loop course rather than the big loop 100K course, which meant that our role no longer existed
Yeah.
because they weren't going through King Hut. So in the end, we came up, checked in, and then ran down the mountain to Mirambar, which is where the gates to Mount Buller are, and then swept the race back up the hill.
We didn't sweep it. Kelly
Right.
Emerson was sweeping. We were clearing.
We were clearing the course. Yeah. So yes, we were still sweeping, but we were sweeping with a broom instead.
Yes, and yes, and you know, it wasn't far. Like, you
No,
know,
it
the
was-
climb up from Mirambar to the finish line is what, 12K.
Yeah.
So I mean, we did a 13. Well, it's not even 12 because we did a 13.5K run down, and we got about 23 Ks, and
Yeah.
half of that was walking around in the lodge because we'd forgotten to turn off our watches
That's
at
right.
the end because it was 10 o'clock and
Yeah.
we were knackered.
Yeah.
Just because, you know,
It's
normally we're in
a lot
bed by
later,
8:30.
late night for us.
Yeah.
Although if
Not
we
as
had
late as we would
if
have
we had
been.
have done the proper course, we wouldn't have got in until maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
And again
So,
tonight.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably not quite as late because it
No,
was
about
started
12
earlier.
12 o'clock on
Yeah,
Saturday
but
night.
all the same, late. So, which I thought was going to be excellent training if it was shitty weather in the dark, in the cold. That would be great training for my race.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to be, and in many respects, it's been a good thing. But let's just do a little bit of a catch up first.
Yes.
Before we get onto our topic of the day, which is listening to your body. We were going to do something else, but we'll do that next time. But, you know, after what's happened today, we decided, I suggested, and you agreed, that we should do listening to your body. All righty. So last weekend, we ended up going out to Maroondah Dam where it was Attack of the Killer Leeches.
It was.
Oh, my word. We got up to the top of the climb. And so the first time we went up, you know, you go up the road and then you get to the last section, which is the bit we wanted to do repeats on because it's steeper, it's more technical, and it's a bit shitty, which once again, good training.
Yeah.
And it's often cold and wet up there.
Yeah.
Good training. Anyway, but it was quite overgrown. Clearly nobody had used that trail for a while.
It's obviously not many people getting up
and
there.
It was wet like we thought it would be, which is fine. So we stopped a lot and we're clearing, you know,
that's right,
breaking branches, because, you know, when you're running back to, and because we would have just got completely soaked and gross. And we're doing Parks Victoria job, but they don't get any money. So, you know, they've got better, you know, their money gets funded to artist walks. So God forbid it should get funded to looking after the parks. Let's get it funded to artist walks.
Yeah.
So we did our bit for Parks Victoria and we cleared. But of course, then we got to the top and literally my lower legs were covered in leeches. Like,
that's right.
It was like having electric eels on you or something. You could feel them sucking the life juice out of me. Oh my God.
We counted, I don't know,
15
about
15 or 20 on my legs.
15 leeches on Isabel's legs.
And as we're flicking them off, I could see them falling off the ground up my shoes.
They were persistent.
They could smell my blood.
Yeah.
You didn't have as many.
No, I only had 4 or 5. Like,
and I don't know if it's your hairy legs or just the fact that my blood must smell better. Yeah, I don't know. But it was creepy watching them, you know, flip flop as they climb up my shoes, and I'm like, oh. And so
yeah, so we did a big clear out there, but then of course.
And so each time wasn't as bad, but each time you run down, you get to the bottom, you have to flick off all the leeches. Then you come up, got to flick off all the leeches. Yeah. So we did 6 repeats, which is doing that 12 times.
We did 5.
5. The plan was 6. We did 5.
Yes.
Because, so that was 10.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So it worked out. We ended up doing 35-ish kilometers.
33, but
33 was it?
32.
With 2.5, 2.4.
Yeah, 2.4.
Yeah, 1,000 meters of climbing. So it was a good day for Vert. I was
pretty tired.
We had planned to do it one more.
It was a moderate plan because I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be like, and so But I ended up saying 5 will do because we kind of got there later than we thought, and so next time we go, we're going to do 6, but we're going to get there earlier.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the next day I went and did my 6 Lyrebirds. You didn't, of course. What was your excuse? No, always piking it on me.
Yeah, that's right.
This time,
this time we were coming down
our last time,
and it's always the way, you lose, you know it's the last one, you kind of lose a bit of focus. I went to step over a log and stood on a rock on the other side and rolled my
Ouch.
ankle, hit the deck, lay there for a little while,
Crying.
crying and assessing the pain and damage. But of
And I
course,
come up, slapped you across the
yeah,
face and
that's
said,
right.
"Get up, you soft."
And reminded me to turn my watch off.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said. Did you turn your watch off?
That's right.
I'm such a
So,
dick.
um,
I forgot about that.
so yeah,
So caring,
we
so
got up.
loving. And see, I care about you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Then I said, "How's your ankle?"
Yeah.
Then I said, "What's wrong?"
No,
Suki Lala.
and then you said you didn't stand on that log, did you?
Yeah, because I thought, oh, he stood on the log and slept like an idiot.
Yeah.
So luckily he hadn't.
No, I hadn't done that. I'd stood on the rock and rolled
Slept
off.
like an idiot.
Yeah. So, but then of course we still had about 7 k's
Downhill running.
to get back to the car. So that was,
You struggled with that run.
I basically ran on one leg,
Hopping down.
hopping down because
I mean,
it hurt
normally
put
we're
pressure
pretty
on
even Stevens on downhill runs. Because my knees have been a bit dodgy, I've been running a bit slower. And
Yeah.
they were actually feeling not too bad because I'd had a good massage the day before. So
Yeah.
I was running okay, but I wasn't sprinting. But even so, I was way ahead of you.
You kept pulling ahead of me.
Yeah.
And then having to wait for me to catch up.
Yeah, which was, like, I mean, good for my ego, but not good for yours.
Yeah. So needless to say, the next day, I just sat it out. I didn't do anything because my ankle was still a bit
because
tender.
we knew we had to do this sweeping and we wanted to make
That's
sure
right.
that Ron was okay for that.
Yeah, knowing that it was
That
going to
and
be
the thought of 6 live birds
Yeah.
didn't fill your heart with joy.
we knew we had this coming up this weekend, so
And that was before we knew the course had been changed.
Yeah.
You see.
So we wanted to make sure it improved and got
Yeah, because when you agree
Got
to
much
do
better.
something, you want to make sure
Yeah.
that you can actually do it.
Yeah. So by Monday, I did I think a 7K run just on the
Yeah.
paths around home, and it was starting to feel better. So
Yeah.
And then by this weekend, it's pretty good. I was a bit sore after last night.
Yeah,
But-
because there was this new trail that we went up. It's
Yeah.
called some shoulder. I don't know.
McLaughlin's shoulder.
And it's quite rocky and slippy, and it was in the dark, and we were carrying bags of stuff that would
Course
pull down
marking.
off the course, signs and shit, and which puts you off weight, and so it was
Trying to balance your way up some shaly rocks.
sort of a bit of a
When you-
very low scale scramble. Very low scale.
There were sections where we were using our hands as
Yes.
well as our feet.
Yeah.
But obviously, with a heavy bag in one hand, it made it a bit tricky to
Sort of off weights you, and yeah, it's remarkable how much it does. And I think even more so in the dark, because
Yeah.
your balance is not quite right in the dark, because of course your body, your eyes can't make adjustments according to what it can see. So your balance is never quite as good in the dark. And then to be carrying something that off weights you, the wind was blowing nicely.
And the course seemed to have been marked by a 7'2" giant.
God, some of them was so high. You had to pull the branch down, and I had to untie it. It was that high.
We couldn't reach the ribbons. We had to pull the branches down.
And some of them were in spots that you had to do like an A grade. I don't know what grades they are. It's numbers rather than letters. Scramble to get to it, and then you broke the branch that it was on.
That I was using to balance myself with.
And which I was underneath you, holding you, and then you're like, this is going to drop on you, and you start falling, and I'm pushing you against the rock, and it was like fun times in the dark.
It felt a bit like Cirque du Soleil.
Yes, it did a bit. And we were almost as graceful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we almost swore more than them.
I was going to say, what they do, you don't hear the whimpering that Cirque du Soleil that I was letting out.
You were not. You give people the impression you're some pathetic person, but you are not at all. Deary me.
Yeah.
So so we got up there, but the whimpering and whinging was more from me. I was just feeling shit because, of course, I got my period on that morning, and so then by that nighttime is always the worst one. I'm in the most pain, lower back pain, and quite severe. So by that time, I was in the
energy
worst,
levels just
and
low.
energy level plummeting, and I was just feeling like a bag of poo, and just felt so bad. So I was like completely useless. I was definitely the handbrake last night.
I did the bulk of the demarking
because I would just be so wrapped that we got to stop. I would just be like, and so I'd just stop and then I go, oh, should I have done something? And you had the clippers. We only had one set of clippers, thankfully, because then I really had a good excuse. And a lot of them were zip tied on as well.
Yeah.
I mean, zip tied to bushes, like far right. Anyway, so you did all of that, and
so we left the bottom at around 7 o'clock, and
just
I think it
after.
was almost
9:45 by the time.
Quarter to 10 by the time we got to the top.
9:45 when we could hear Jill finishing. Yeah, so that was just at the Arlberg.
Yeah.
Ish coming into the Arlberg, so we only
So
had
maybe
a K and a half to
maybe 9:30 by the time we got to the top of the summit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought by the time we got to the finish, I'm
No,
like, that's going
no.
back in time.
By the time
Yes.
and then it's just a nice
And it
amble.
was so cold.
Yeah,
Whoa,
the wind. We were kind of a little protected.
Yeah.
Until we got out of the tree line, then it got a bit windy.
And it wasn't as bad as I expected in that area, though. But it was beautiful looking down, seeing the lights of Mirambar.
Yeah, you could see the lights following the road.
And Mirambar, and what's that? Merrijik. I knew it started with them, but I can't.
We could see the lights all the way along the Mount Buller Road.
It was nice. Anyway.
But then as soon as we got to the top, the wind was coming off from the other side of the summit, and that was icy cold.
Which is fine. That's all part of it. Like, you've got to have the gear, and I had the gear.
Yeah.
You had no idea.
I thought
you forgot your gloves.
I thought I'd put my gloves in, but in reality, I hadn't. So, but I hadn't. I wasn't even going to. No, I wasn't stopping.
Because Ron's too tough for gloves.
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't going to put them on anyway. I thought I had them in my pack, but it turned out this morning when I was going looking for them, they were still in the room.
Yeah.
So
yes, and of course I went through my ritual of singing stupid songs, and the one for people if they can sing it. Taste buds are on the top of your tongue, so turn your bread upside down. What was that advertising? I'm sure it was margarine. I'm going to have to Google it.
Yeah,
I'm sure all the old people listening in Australia, of course, will know. They'll be going, Isabel, it was this. But yes, I have no clue. So that was what I was just singing along last night.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we finally finished. We came in probably, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10, not even 10, maybe 5 minutes. We could hear the cheering from where we were coming down the mountain. We could hear the cheering of the last place finisher, or not the last place, the person to finish last
in time.
On
Daffodil
on
Margarine, it was.
Okay.
Yes, that was it.
Yes, it's the one. Why do you guys turn your bread upside down, Bob? She thinks birds are on the top of your tongue. And we love the taste of daffodil.
So turn your bread upside down.
Taste it, don't waste it.
Taste it, don't waste it. Yum, margarine. Ugh.
So, for some reason, that song was circling through your head.
Yes, I do have a reason, but I will share it with you after this.
Okay.
Where no one knows.
Yeah.
Secret.
Right.
But yes, there is a reason.
Yeah.
And that's obviously my subconscious knew it was a margarine ad because the thing that I'm talking about was about margarine.
Right. Okay.
And so that's why I thought it has to be for margarine. Yeah. Oh, and you should see that video. How thick they had lathered that disgusting chemical concoction onto their bread. Anywho.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it was not a super late night. It was later than we would normally have, but it wasn't as late as it could have been.
And we didn't use poles, and we did 1,000 meters climbing, carrying not heavy bags, but weight offsetting bags.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, that's my whinging and complaining and explaining why I've ran hiked like shit. Although the run down was good, my knees didn't hurt at all.
Yeah,
it was great. My knees hurt up the hill because they jarred a couple of times and slipping on the rocks.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So, and our plan today was that we were going to get up not super early,
6 a.m.
6 a.m. and have coffee, breakfast, whatnot, and then head out on for a.
We were going to do the 50k loop.
Yeah, for a 50k loop. Quickly that changed to we decided we were going to cut out some extra bits
because I was just like I just don't want to do 50k. I was just the thought of doing 50k. So, I mean, I know I've got one more week of big heavy training, but the thought of it, I just couldn't do it.
So the 50k loop, as it was run yesterday, had a few kind of out and backish or extra bits that
extra bits
seemed,
that we're not
seemed to
interested
just-
in doing.
the only point was to make it up to 50 Ks. So we were like, oh, we'll just,
We would have done 47 or 48 or something.
yeah. So we were like, we'll just cut those bits out and see what it ends up. But then it didn't take long. We
went up to the summit, we came down, and I just was lagging behind you so bad. Admittedly, obviously I've still got my period, I'm still feeling shit, but it's not like that's never happened before.
Yeah.
But I've also just been so exhausted from this training, like really tired. And it is getting to the end of the training period. But, I am particularly tired, like particularly, because obviously there's other things going on in my life. I work full-time as a running coach. I'm also back teaching, but there are other things going on in my life that are
stressful,
very, very stressful for me. And I find stressful, especially emotionally stressful situations, make me extremely exhausted and make it hard for me to deal with training stress.
Yeah.
Right. So I have that ongoing, and that's been ongoing for a year, but it's really getting tough now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's impacting you too.
Yeah.
Right? This is to do with my son. So obviously, it's not like I can just switch that off. So anyway.
So yeah, and we had planned, we were going to go up to Mount Sterling and down to Craig's Hut and back again, and we were heading. We'd come off Mount Buller and we were heading across.
We'd run past the lodge, which I'd gone, can we just go back to the lodge?
Yeah. Which at the time I didn't really take all that seriously. And we were heading across to Howquid Gap.
And you stopped to have a wee. So I said, I'll run ahead because you'll catch me anyway.
Yeah. And so Isabel, was a little bit ahead.
And when I say run.
So as I was coming up behind her, I could just, her body language was not great. I could see her shoulders were drooped. Her arms were just kind of hanging by her side. She'd get to like a
slight rise,
or even just a flat section, because we were running mostly downhill, but every now and then it would kind of level out, and she would stop and walk. And so when I got,
you could see the misery in my body language.
So when I caught up to her, I just said, hang on a minute, let's just stop and talk about what we're doing. Initially I suggested,
first you said nice bags under your eyes.
Yeah. So first of all, I suggested, how about we just skip out the bit down to Craig's Hut, and we'll just, once we get to the summit of Stirling, we'll just turn and go down the hill to Mirambar. So we were gonna, that would cut out, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 kilometers. Of the run. And then we just kind of stopped and we were talking, and
I said, well, kind of the mentality of in for a penny, in for a pound. If I'm going to cut it short because I'm tired, might as well cut it short. Like, why do 30K? Like, what's 30K going to get me that, like, just resting, And I'm always, and Ron said, what, you're always banging on about how important rest is, and I do, and I know it intellectually, but I also understand how hard it is to do, which is why, my athletes come to me and I'll say, no, you need to rest, because they've got the same dilemma and they need someone to tell them. Everybody does, because we always think, am I being lazy? Am I being soft? And I call myself soft sometimes, if I don't want to train, but it's like, sometimes resting is the best training you can do. So we weren't even quite at 10Ks. And I said, if we're going to just cut it short, and I'm just going to be this miserable anyway, like it was exhausting running on the flat. It was exhausting. I was too tired to run downhill. I said, let's just pull the pin. And you said, let's go and eat something and go back to bed. So that's what we did. And this is where we're getting into the listening to your body part of this podcast. And even then, just walking back up, and I turned my head and looked over my shoulder and I felt dizzy. And that's when I remembered that every time I overexhaust myself, that's when I get the many airs. And I thought, you know what, I'm doing the right thing. Even though I feel guilty and I feel like I'm letting myself down and I'm being soft, the end of the day, my body needs to rest.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to listen to our body, even though, I pride myself on being tough, on being, as it says on my tattoo, a machine.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a machine. I'm a human being in a human body.
Yeah.
And sometimes that mentality of being a machine can cause you to do the wrong thing by your body.
So we discussed the pros and cons. Now, obviously, if we had to push through today,
We've got it done.
not only, but we would have got it done, but
Slow.
not only was it a tough run, but looking out the window now, it is miserable.
We'd still be out there now.
Yeah. It's raining, it's cold, it's windy.
Which would have made it harder and depleted our bodies even more. And you've been exhausted. You've been messaging me going, I just feel so exhausted.
Yeah.
Or my run went shit because I'm so exhausted. Ron's been doing not all of my training, but a portion of it, and a lot of the driving for going to do the navigating. And it's like, we're just exhausted. And like I said, Ron is under this emotional stress too with my son, because my son lives with us. So it's been hard on both of us.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and this is the thing I say always, stress is stress. It doesn't have to just come from running. It can come from life too. And when it comes from life, I think it's almost worse, because running stress, you can go, but that's just running. If I just rest and sleep, I'll be fine and eat.
Yeah.
But life stress, you can't sleep and eat that away. Sadly, we could try drinking it away, but even that doesn't work. It depletes the body. It makes everything so much harder.
Yeah.
And I needed to be kind to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I even, remember when I met Josh Street out on the run the other week, and he said, just be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Because I'm very hard on myself.
You are.
Very hard.
You are. And you get into this mentality where, you have a serious harden the fuck up mentality when it comes to yourself. Yeah. And you see these things that you would be totally telling your clients, and you,
oh my God, I would not let my clients do what I do.
As far as your clients, are concerned, you know what they've got to do, and you tell them what you should do, or sorry, what they should do, but you have this blank spot with you that says,
and that's why coaches need coaches.
Yeah.
It's not because the coaches themselves, their coaching program isn't good. It's because coaches need someone to talk to, and it's not
and
the program.
To tell them how it is.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the reason why people hire a coach, and that's what I'm there for, is to be that voice of reason.
Yeah.
And because we all need that, and me included, which is what I need you for. But sometimes you feel worried about hurting my feelings or being the bad guy, and you don't want to be the bad guy, which is fair because you're my husband. You don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
But I need sometimes someone to go, whoa, hold your horses, rein it in.
Yeah. So we spoke a little bit about,
and then I find remembered a song to go with it. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk. You looked at me like, stop singing.
Which then replaced the Margarine song.
Thank God. Know when to walk away, know when to stay. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. So I decided to fold them, not hold them.
Not hold them.
Because you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And it was fold them time.
Yeah. Because, yes, she could have pushed through.
You could have, and I would have, because I do. Because I said that to you last week. I can make myself do anything.
Yeah.
I can make myself do it. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, though.
It would have just pushed the exhaustion can down the road until...
And you have to pay the piper at some point.
Yeah, until next week when we're trying to...
last week of good training.
Next week is your last week of solid training before you start the taper process. So, in the end, the discussion was that we will cut our losses today and tomorrow,
and just rest,
and then hit that last week of training hard, knowing that the taper is coming.
Yeah.
And
I mean, obviously the taper doesn't mean kick my shoes off and lie in bed.
Yeah.
I'm still training, just not at the level.
Yeah.
Because it's also been mentally exhausting the training I've been doing, like doing hill repeats, you have to be immensely strong to force yourself to keep doing them day after day, week after week, month after month. So, talking about listening to your body. So you need to listen to, what I was hearing was hating running.
Yeah.
Just, I did not want to be there today. Even last night, like, I'm not enjoying this. Just, when will this be over? And of course, you always get those feelings occasionally. Like, that's normal to get it sometimes. But even last week, I was hating every run. Like, every run was, oh, this is not fun. I'm not enjoying this. It hurts. My body was kind of low grade hurting all the time. Like, just muscle sore, hating running, not hating, but not wanting to run. And that run we were doing today, I was like, I hate this. And I was like, I've got to change my attitude. Change your attitude, Isabel. That's what I was saying to her. Stop being such a bad attitude. But it was like, I just didn't want to run, didn't want to be there. I felt like crying. I mean, that could have been my period too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to cry. I said that to you. I just want to sit down and cry. And I do get that sometimes when I'm overly exhausted, like a little toddler, I just want to cry and have a tantrum. Although this wasn't tantrum tears, I just wanted to have sad tears. What else was there? You may get different things, but generally feeling constantly tired, feeling like you don't enjoy running. Like, we run this, I don't get paid to run. I do not get paid to run. In fact, I spend a fortune.
You pay for the enjoyment.
If I paid the amount of money that I paid for running to a person, that would be their income. That could be a yearly income. Not huge pay, but still a pay. And to not enjoy it, then what's the goddamn point? And so it's not a job. It's a hobby that should be enjoyable. And so if you're finding that you're not liking running, what is your body telling you? It's telling you to rest. If things are low grade hurting all the time, which, to be fair, over 50, kind of everything low grade hurts all the time.
Yeah. But
when your heart and soul hurts, that's when you probably need to, go, okay, what's going on here? What else was there? I don't think it's bad. Like, I haven't gotten into overtraining because overtraining is like when like, I'm still eating well and feeling fine, and I can feel fine, and I have good days where I do feel good. So this is not overtraining, but that's why I'm pulling the pin.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go into my race overtrained.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't listen to your body, that's when you get into overtraining, where 2 days rest won't get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you end up needing 6 months. Now, I remember I went on this camp into Alaska. I've forgotten his name, goddamn. And he was a top American runner, like the guy who organized the camp. And I can see him, but just can't remember his name. Lovely guy. And was really, really good, but he trained himself into chronic fatigue. And he ended up having to quit racing and basically never raced since.
Yeah. And
I've had chronic fatigue, and I can tell you right now, it is the most unfun thing you can have, especially because I had it for 15 to 20 years. And I had it in my teenage years when I should have been out partying and whatnot. And it was, not fun. And it, I think, personally changed my life trajectory for a highly negative. So you do not want to get into that overtraining chronic fatigue. And that is where chronic fatigue, you will know, it won't be just your muscles that are a bit sore and tired. It's your bones that are tired. And when your bones are tired, and I know that sounds hard, can you feel if your bones are tired? You can feel it.
Yeah.
Believe you me, that's when you know you're in big trouble. So shut things down before things get to that by listening to your body. And if you cannot listen to your body, get a coach. And Ron is a coach, so he was being my coach. And he said, as your coach, I am telling, because I said, tell me what to do. As I said to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
And you said, as your coach, I'm telling you, let's go home.
Yeah.
And when I say home, back to the room.
Yeah.
Right? So, and there is no shame. And to be honest, I said this to you before, and I don't know if I've told the listeners before. This has happened to me before. I remember once, this is when I had not long split up from my ex-husband. So obviously there was a lot of emotional fatigue there as well. And I was living in Baronia then, and I got up to go for my run. I sat there and drank 2 coffees, had my breakfast, put on all my clothes, the pack, everything, got up, walked to the front door, opened the door and went, nah. And I went and took everything off and hopped back into bed. Right. And I think I had like a 40 to 50K run planned that day too. And, it happened. And I went back to bed. I didn't even run 12K like we did today. I just went back to bed and I slept, and I can't even remember what I did. I don't even remember feeling guilty. So this guilty feeling will go away and I won't remember it.
Yeah.
And I went on to win races after that and to do, well enough, and not win a stack of races. My winning years were behind me, but, I still had GSCR ahead of me and a few other good races. So, and getting into Barkley and doing all those things well ahead of me. So listening to your body and pulling things back is not going to stop you from achieving. If anything, it's actually going to help you. And when I get to the start line of a race, it's not going to be, oh my God, I didn't do that 50K run. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
No, because as I always say to my athletes, it's not the one run that makes a difference. It's the training accumulation. That's why consistency is so important. It's the accumulation of daily miles. It's not the one long run.
Yeah.
The one long run matters if you haven't been doing the training, but even then,
if you're skipping, one long run after another long run.
Yeah, that's right. And all your easy runs and your quality sessions. I mean, I'm doing all my runs. Even so, I've done 75Ks this week.
Yeah.
Which is not nothing.
Yeah. 75Ks and how much climbing?
Oh, not a lot. For me.
For you, yeah.
3.5, maybe 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000.
No, 3.5. So I done 1,600 last night. We did 1,000. So
and we did 2,000.
Yeah. So I've done 3,000 meters climbing, which actually is still quite a lot, just not a lot compared to what I've done.
Yeah, that's right.
So still 3,000 meters climbing in a week with 75 odd Ks.
Yeah.
Like, it's not nothing. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I planned for, but it's not nothing.
Yeah.
And at this moment in time, resting is the best training for my body.
It's what you need, right?
It's what I need. It may be not what I want, but it needs and wants, people. Needs and wants.
Yeah.
Right. And Ron was like, oh, we can always get up and do a 10K run tomorrow. No, when I go, I'm going to rest. I rest.
Yeah.
And this is what I need. I want to also just tomorrow not get up to an alarm.
Yeah.
I want to lay in bed and not then have to go, oh, here's my coffee, hurry up, I've got to go for a run. No, I want to go, oh, the thing I've got to hurry for is breakfast.
Yeah.
And that's, I just want to chill. And so 10Ks tomorrow, that's not going to make a difference to my training. It'll only make a difference to numbers.
We talk about this a lot, especially when we're on our long runs and we see people. We always go, I wonder what it'd be like to be normal. We see people out walking with a coffee in their hand and we say, that's their morning exercise. Yeah. and we always say, oh, wouldn't it be great to just do that?
I mean, we'd fucking hate it.
But then when we do it, like, the prospect of it is like, oh my God,
I'm so bored. Well, it was even like today when we woke up and it was like 1 o'clock after our nap. And I'm like, oh, fuck, no, what do we do?
Yeah.
And that's why I said, let's just do the podcast,
Yeah.
When in doubt, work. You see, and it was funny because I was having a massage at my girlfriend's place because she's a masseur. And she was like, are you able to ever just do nothing? And I went, yeah, I can. Yeah. I think I got a little bit antsy. Of course I can. She was like, okay.
She just chooses not to.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she's right though, because and I felt a little bit triggered. But and then today when I woke at 1 and like, oh my fucking God, the whole afternoon, that whole 3-4 hours of stretching ahead of me of nothing. I heard Anne-Marie's voice and went, no, Isabel, can you just do nothing? Can I do nothing? Sometimes you need to just do nothing. And not active recovery, not working.
Yeah.
But nothing, but I knew I wanted to, the not podcast was stressing me out. So anyway, so it's hard listening to your body. Don't think that I'm coming here on my soapbox going, listen to your body, because, I know how hard it is to rest when when you feel like you should be doing all the training and all the things, but sometimes all the things is resting and all the training is resting, and it is actually what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it?
It is.
Like, you didn't have a problem after you rolled your ankle resting the next day.
No, I never have.
Though, to be fair, you cleaned the fucking house.
Well, there is that. I didn't have any trouble resting from running.
I get home and he's vacuumed and he's cleaned the toilet and he's done the shopping and he's folded all the laundry, mowed the lawns and whippersnippered the edges. I'm like, Ron, you're meant to be sitting down.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have trouble resting in different ways for different people have trouble resting in different ways. I don't feel comfortable resting in a house that I know I could be doing.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I can't rest in a messy environment. Yeah. Yes.
So, you know, sometimes I sit there and go, I'll just read my book, and I'll read a couple of pages and go, oh no, I should be doing this. I should be doing that.
And that's the same with me.
Yeah.
So why is it okay for you, but not for me?
Because yours tends to be either working, working, or running.
Yes. Because I hate cleaning. And because I spent 20 odd years cleaning for a family that didn't give a fuck about me.
Yeah. So, it manifests itself in different ways, and we all have our challenges in resting.
Yes.
Some more than others, but it's good to recognize when a rest is necessary.
Yes.
It's really helpful.
It is very helpful, and it is very beneficial.
Yeah.
Like, when I woke up from my nap, I thought I made the right decision. I could feel it in my body that I made the right. I still felt guilty, but I knew that I had made the right decision.
Yeah.
And ultimately, sometimes pulling back is the, you think about a slingshot, you've got to pull that band back to fling the slingshot forward. And sometimes that's what you have to do. Do you like that analogy I just made up? That's awesome.
That was great.
You've got to pull back to spring forward.
I would have used a bow and arrow analogy more than a slingshot, but that works. It all works the same.
Yeah, same. I'm just more that. Probably because I'm too unco to use a bow and arrow. It's way too complicated, and I'd just get my fingers caught and hurt myself anyway. Somehow I'd find a way to hurt myself. Even a slingshot, I would probably fly back and hit me in the face anyway. No, my luck and my coordination skills. But yeah, so that was, we've come all the way up to Bulla, and we've just sat in this room.
We have, but looking out the window, I'm not really regretting that decision.
I feel so guilty. I feel it's because of me. And that's part of the reason why I feel guilty. But Ron's not averse to rest. You do like rest.
I don't mind a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. At least, I mean, if you were like me, that would make it doubly hard, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah. Yeah.
So just sharing with you the wine that we are drinking. It is the Marysville. I'm showing this on the video for YouTube. This is the one I won at Marysville. So, yes, which is Pierce. I think it's Pierce, Andrew Pierce wines, Murray Valley. There you go. And it's a Shiraz Sagrantino, which I've never heard of Sagrantino. It's a full moon. It was a full moon last night.
Last night, as we were getting to the
most amazing full moon,
to the summit, we looked across and the moon was just rising above the clouds, but it was still kind of, it was very eerie, like,
because it was kind of orangey, wasn't it?
Yeah, like out of a werewolf movie.
No, it was like out of Werewolves of London.
Yeah, where it was just appearing through the clouds and above the
Werewolves of London.
Because we were high and the clouds were low, so the moon was just kind of starting to appear out of the clouds, and it was really eerie.
And as you were sitting there clipping off all the the markers, I'm going, "Hey, Ron, I'm jabbing you." You're like, "Yeah, I'm fucking busy, Isabel, doing work."
I'll look up as soon as I'm finished what I'm
working. You lazy shit. Yes. But it was, but you were the one who first pointed out to me, because I was in the misery.
I think I turned around to to look to see where you were.
And I'm that back to back going,
When I turned around, because it was
shoot me,
the
put me out
moon
of my
was
misery.
behind us, so it wasn't until I turned around to look where you were I saw the moon.
Yes, so yes, I saw the full moon,
Yeah.
and it was quite amazing.
Yeah.
And it was, it was a beautiful night last night. Not
Mm.
such a beautiful night tonight. So kind of thank God, and thank God with this tiredness that I don't feel, because I'd have had to do the sweeping regardless of how tired I
Yeah.
was. Like if I agree to do a job, I'm going to do it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to leave them in the lurch or leave you in the lurch. Like I'm sure
Yeah.
you could have done it on your own, but that would have been mean. So yeah.
Yeah. So it kind
So
of
thank God.
worked out in a way for us.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
and also, in that regard, also, with the leeches, I, unbeknownst to me, I had leeches in my socks. So when we got at the end of the day, when we got back, they were pulled off my socks and pulled out a leech, and there was all blood on my socks and whatnot. But that got infected, so that was kind of so that would have probably not helped my energy levels either.
Yeah.
I mean, not infected enough to go to the doctor, but infected enough that I'm at school on Friday and I had to have that shoelace or Thursday completely undone, because it was so painful.
Because it was right on the top of
my foot.
So
yeah. So
and that's the thing with leeches. You see them on your legs and you flick them off straight away, but they get down inside your
down in your
socks.
shoes. So we're going to be going back there next week, but I'm going to be wearing gaiters and we're going to take the Bushman spray.
And it's going to be a bit warmer and drier as well.
Yeah, but there'll have been rain this weekend, so it was not cold. It was not wet down the hill. It was
no, but it was in the cloud where we were.
But who's to say it won't be in the cloud next week?
Well, because it's going to be warmer. It might be clearer day.
Wasn't it a better day? Wasn't it an okay day? Oh, okay. I can't remember.
No, it was only, I think, 18 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be like 31.
31, so, and possibly clear skies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the bomb. They're full of lies. They're full of shit. Bomb is a Bureau of Meteorology. It'll be 12 degrees and snowing. Because they said it's going to be 31 and hot. So what the only thing they get right is the clouds before they do the spraying.
Yeah.
Because they're in cahoots. So yes.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be a bit warmer and drier, but we will remember the Bushmans.
Yes, definitely the Bushmans. I did suggest weighing on them, but that's
I'm pretty sure that's jellyfish.
That's jellyfish.
So and didn't want to get that wrong.
No. And I didn't want to try it. I just said, isn't that what works? And you're like, I don't think so. And I'm like, oh, that's right, it's jellyfish.
So, salt leeches, apparently.
Or fire. Like if you've got your matches.
Oh, yeah.
But then I'd probably have set fire to the fucking bush or got third-degree burns. Yeah. I'm weighing and lighting them.
We would have had to wait to put out the fire that you'd lit trying to burn the leeches off.
That's right. Oh God, sometimes I shouldn't be trusted. But yes. So anyway, if you're feeling, not 100% sure about how you're feeling, I mean, get a coach. And of course, I would recommend Peak Endurance Coaching, but ultimately, any coach should be there as a sounding board to you and how you are feeling. And they should know enough to know the effects of outside stresses and the effects of what, or the symptoms of what is overreaching. That's what I would say. At the moment, I'm in overreaching, which you have to do. To get better. You have to especially with the amount of training I've got in my background. I've got to keep pushing the limits. Otherwise, you plateau. But it's a fine line. You've got to overreach and and then you've got to pull back, which is what a coach is for, which is ultimately that's what we did. I've overreached, right, now I've pulled it back. And I will rest today, and I'm going to rest Monday too. Rest tomorrow, Sunday, rest Monday, then back into it. So that's like 2 full days of rest, and then back into it. So and don't do, if you rest and go, okay, that's it, I'm tired, I'm pulling back, I'm cutting, don't catch up tomorrow.
That's right. We're not going to
really frustrated with people who want to catch up, and I've never done that. I know You rested for a reason. Don't do catch up.
That's right.
And don't put it to the next week and make a next week a 200-kilometer week. Oh my God. It's gone. It's done. It's in the past. Like this 50K run, it's in the past. It's not going to happen again.
That's right. Trying to catch up is just going to.
And that's what I'm saying. Doing
push you
10Ks
down the road.
tomorrow, that's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Let's just rest. We'll go for a walk. You know, cheer on the runners. Like, no. Yeah.
Yep.
Got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
On that lovely note,
Yeah.
I think it's time to end the podcast.
Yeah. So I can find another bad song to sing. All right. Thank you for joining us. We are going to finish resting.
Yep.
And eating. And that's another thing. If you're getting exhausted and you cut back the training, don't go, oh, well, no, I need to cut back the food. No, you probably need food more.
Yeah.
More, because your body is telling you something. It's not getting enough food or rest. So don't cut back food. So, all righty.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.